Hey all, your OS reviews. In this video, we're taking a look at a cool glowing RGB lamp from Moonside Design. This is their Halo lamp, and it's described as, imagine a floating ring of light, seamlessly shifting through millions of colors, creating hypnotic effects right from your phone, with 80 individually addressable LEDs that can be programmed to show dynamic scenes, sync with your favorite music, and transform any space into a visual experience. It's a minimalist art piece by day, customizable lightscape by night. And so the design here is definitely very eye-catching. It almost feels like this floating donut, which is suspended in a block of ice, creating a very mysterious and modern overall aesthetic. And of course, as an RGBIC lamp, we have different colors going on simultaneously, similar to some of the Govee products that we've seen. And this company, Moonside Design, creates some of these high-concept smart lighting pieces because this thing also has an optional companion app that we'll see in a moment, allowing you to control even more scenes and effects. But prior to this one, last year we actually checked out another product from them called the Neon Lighthouse, which was in this kind of lightsaber bar-inspired design, also having a dense array of LEDs, allowing you to create vibrant-looking animations and transition effects. Very cool, with some subtle design touches like another crystal element on the top that just made it feel a little bit more unique and funky. And so the Halo lamp just adds to the collection. That being said, Halo lamp is a little bit more obvious in terms of the dimensions, taking up just a little more space on a desk. Now, of course, it has plenty of other lighting effects that we'll see in a moment, including a more conventional white light. If you're using it as just a maybe traditional desk lamp, it'll look something like this. In fact, kind of reminds me of a ring light or a selfie light suspended in an acrylic sculpture. Now, by the way, a couple of other offerings from this brand include the Neon Crystal, which also looks really cool. It's like a block of, again, ice or crystal, but now with a more dense array of LEDs, almost like an infinity mirror. There's another one called the Lamp 1, which is more like a traditional desk lamp inside. However, it's filled with RGBIC lights, creating more dazzling effects, almost like a modern lava lamp. In fact, they also have a dedicated light bulb version if you want to pop it into a conventional E27 socket and have that similar effect, casting more interesting hues and colors on the wall of any room. So here's what it looks like again on a desk, for example, very minimalistic. And again, the companion app is compatible with both iOS as well as Android devices, can also be controlled using other smart home assistant devices as well, including Alexa and Google Assistant, for turning it on or off using voice commands if you choose to do so. Here's a couple of final images here to serve as example. I would say it's actually represented quite well in front of us versus the stock images. Indeed gives it a very mysterious look. Again, blurring the boundaries between art as well as just a general lighting piece. Pretty cool, whether it's a living space, a office, a kitchen that you want to pop this into, even wall mounted here, definitely is a conversation starter when it comes to the design as well as the profile look. Alright, so in terms of packaging, aside from the Halo lamp itself, you also get that USB Type-C cable, which actually comes in two pieces. There is a module or remote control similar to the Neon Lighthouse, allowing you to turn the lamp on or off at a click. If you don't want to use voice control or connect to the companion app, you can still use it as a conventional or manual lamp. From here, you can also change the brightness of the light. So this is going to be the maximum brightness versus dimming it. If you are in a darker spot, want to use it as just a night light. There's also two arrow keys for going through some preset animation effects, including this one here, which really does remind me of a night sky, offering this beautiful gentle glow of whites and blues that drifts across in a more mysterious, dynamic way. The next one here is a reactive one, which has a built-in microphone dancing and strobing to the beat of sound if you are listening to music, for example, also looking quite cool in this pinkish, yellowish color. And then we transition into another dynamic mode, which almost reminds me of a lava lamp of fire or flames here on the side, breathing in and out, also looking quite good. Here's what it looks like in a darker space, before looping into more of a gentle white light, which is perhaps going to be the most practical if you're trying to get some work done, looking something like this, as you can tell. Here's also a profile look at this block of ice, so to speak, at different angles. It remains still quite visible. So it is just suspended in this kind of opaque looking acrylic box, essentially. And then on the very back, if we turn it around, this is what it looks like. Halo lamp Moonside Design, using a simple USB Type-C port there for power, as well as two mounting sockets. So very clean overall look. That being said, this, just like the Neon Lighthouse and many of Govee's products, doesn't have a built-in battery of its own. So keep that in mind. It does need to be plugged into power for it to operate. And it is using a standard USB Type-A. It is relatively energy efficient, can also be plugged into a power bank or even a laptop. Again, having plenty of of attention to detail, having that circle pattern as part of their logo going on. Packaging here is also very clean and minimalistic, just comes in a large box that says Moonside Design. And when it comes to connecting with their companion app, it's a relatively seamless and easy process as well. We'll tap to add a device and then start to pair with location services turned on. After a split second, it should detect the halo lamp. By the way, this thing also has built-in Bluetooth as well, so you can use that or Wi-Fi to control it from afar. So we'll tap to connect. Plenty of attention to detail here. You're also able to rename the lamp and also assign it to a specific room. Brightness here can be adjusted in increments of just 1%, and you're also able to turn the entire light here on or off at a single click. We can tap to go inside and you'll find a color wheel, which allows us to change the RGB properties, making the light cooler versus warmer, and also finding some simple presets of a single color if you want to go this route. This one here is in their green colorway versus a more pinkish colorway. Here's a yellowish, and a orange color as some of the defaults that we can find. You can even generate a specific color or find the dominant color from an image. So if you upload a photo and it's going to be primarily blue or green, it can detect that and then try to coordinate the color of the lamp to match that photo, which is pretty cool. There's also a random color generator that you can use here as well, and then tap to set it into that random color if you're feeling more adventurous. Further down below here, there's a second tab which might be a little more focused on productivity. For example, more of a natural white light, you can see the kelvins in terms of the color temperature versus getting it warmer and colder in terms of the white light. Also one here for focusing, getting work done, and also one for bedtime. Maybe for reading, it's going to be more of a gentle yellowish color light. We can swipe down again to find a couple more examples as well. Slightly different kelvins in terms of warmness and coolness, but these are all going to be natural white lights instead. Now in terms of the 100% brightness level, I would say it's sufficient to be used as a smaller desk lamp. It might not be the brightest in the world, but still sufficient for making things out, as you can tell here if you're relatively close to the light. A couple of final presets here include one for meditation as well. Now under the Effects tab, this is where you can find some dynamic animations, including one here called Dancing Ocean, which is slowly rippling across, as you can tell there as part of the LEDs. It's going to show a little bit more of these animations that are playful instead of being completely static. Here's one called Pink Ball, and moving ever so slightly as well. This one here called Dancing Beat, also very playful. We have all the lights there crisscrossing in its path. Here's one called Greenland, so we have greens and whites, which are slowly changing, so on and so forth. The list is really quite exhaustive, and you can find all types of gradient colors, which are all actually quite beautiful. And it's a pretty interactive aspect in terms of community members are able to create their own patterns, including you can create your own version as well, and then share it for other people to reference in the future. So you can download any of the ones that you like using this particular section of a tab. Kind of reminds me of a watch dial or a watch face tab on a smartwatch, like an Apple Watch, for example, playing around with these different special effects. Some of these can also be holiday themed, including this one, which is called Twinkling Christmas. So you get the idea, it's in these Christmas colors of reds and greens to get a more festive mood depending on time of year. Here are a couple of other examples. This one called Glowing Lava, Ice Mountain, all sets a slightly different vibe as you're using them. And then the tab continues with even more examples which are under the music or reactive theme. So again, these are going to be dynamic to the beat of rhythm, and detecting that from the built-in microphones, it's going to flash accordingly. Or again, at the very top, allowing you to create your own theme or pattern and then save it, share it with the community if desired. And then the final tab is called Paint. This is where we can customize the 80 individual beads of LEDs to a single shade, allowing me to draw on single parts of the light, as you can tell there, and those specific beads will then correspond in turn that particular color. So you can play around with it, and by default, the sections which aren't filled are going to be in this white light, or you can turn them completely off. Now, maybe only thing I will say is because of the kind of diffracted effect of it being in this ice cube, it's a little bit more blurry on purpose as part of the design. So compared to a pixel art display, for example, it might not be quite as sharp if you're looking at specific text details. It's more about the overall color and vibe that it produces. In other words, coloring a specific dot, it still looks a little bit more diffused because of this particular design of the lamp, but overall still quite cool. And you're also able to find a couple of other presets, like extracting a specific color, filling in all of the pixels with the current color that you've chosen, as you can tell there. A pretty neat animation there, favoriting this and saving it as a preset in the future. In fact, some additional drawings and animations, if published by community members, can also be referenced under this section here as well. Now, last but not least, under the gear icon, you can find some more advanced settings. For example, pairing it to a different Wi-Fi network, switching between Bluetooth and Wi-Fi modes. And now, returning to the home page of the app, this is also where we're able to control all the lights at a glance. For example, you can set up a scene and try to apply that for all of the lights which are in the current room. Such as now, we have the same theme applied to both of these lamps from them, as you can tell there, at a single click. Some additional tabs here include a functionality section where you can also use the light as a countdown timer. For example, when it goes down to 1 minute, it will then flash to give you a reminder. With additional functionality over here that can be triggered based on location. For example, maybe you're entering a certain room, it can then turn on by itself. Maybe when the weather is going to get more rainy, you can use a lava lamp effect to help you feel a little bit more warm compared to maybe screen brightness. That's a beta feature right now. So the lamp's brightness can be adjusted automatically based on your screen's brightness as well. Additional features including a wake-up light mode, so it will gradually get brighter and brighter or dimmer when you are waking up, simulating a natural sunlight. There's even an auto pixel player here that can switch between different pixel drawings or scenes automatically, dynamically, in the background, kind of like a wallpaper that will loop through as long as it's connected to the app or internet, which is pretty neat. So you're able to set up these more advanced automation controls that will be triggered by different scenarios and status, and you can set it up in terms of color, duration, so on and so forth. Before finally going over to the Profile tab, allowing us to control connected devices, change into different rooms, whether we want to add different lights to various scenes or unselect ones that we don't want to control at a single click if you want them to be always in sync. Managing linked devices and under Smart Home is where we can again further connect our account to Google Assistant, Amazon Alexa, so on and so forth if desired. So yeah, I would say the companion app is actually working quite well, easy enough to control. Different scenes can be triggered by various actions that you can program, customizing lighting effects, coloring it pixel by pixel, giving you plenty of detail here. So there we have it. That's more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the brand new Moonside design halo lamp. I have to say that again, the concept and the aesthetics of this lamp continues to be quite unique, similar to their other products that we've seen previously. It just blends the boundaries between just a lighting piece and also a art statement. Definitely a conversation starter. It looks pretty nice on any desk surface. Pretty cool, since all the wires can't really be seen from view. Really does resemble a floating donut or halo there, suspended into a block of ice. Here's also a profile look from all of the sides and angles, so actually the depth of that ring light isn't quite as tall as maybe initially expected, though when you are looking at it from a certain angle like the front, it just seems a little bit more obvious. So essentially it is that O-shaped ring or light bulb, again suspended into this case. So if you're interested in this one or you like any of their other creations, you can check out more details in the links down below. But for now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. Again, that's been the Halo lamp from Moonside Design.